thing will not be talked about on CNN. It definitely won't be talked about on MSNBC, but we're going to talk about it here on Newsmax this morning. I want to welcome in the rest of our panel right now. We welcome in policy analyst and Project 21 member Donna Jackson. She is with us today. Senior contributor at The Federalist, Benjamin Weingarten, and former Trump campaign aide Rick Gates. Benjamin, you touched on this, and I think it's such a... I'm going to play a quick soundbite. Joe Biden kept talking about airports, and this is something that most people can get behind, is improving the infrastructure of our airports. Take a listen.
So I just left your airport. The director of the airport said we're about to renovate the airport. Is that right, Mr. County Executive? We're going to renovate. We're going to employ thousands of people. And she looked at me and said, I can't thank you enough for this plan.
Okay, that's got Neil Kinnock written all over it right there. I don't think that interaction, Benjamin, ever actually happened. But he keeps, I agree, there are airports in this country that are a total disaster. The pandemic has helped airports like LaGuardia. They've sped up the construction there. He keeps comparing, he talked about the airport in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates. That airport's still being done. It's brand new. That city just burst out of the sand about 20 years ago. LaGuardia dates back to 1939. So yes, a lot of our airports need work. Unfortunately, Benjamin, the majority of the money in this bill will not go to fixing our airports.
Yeah, this is a vote-buying scheme that is cast as improving infrastructure for the American people. In reality, it's paying back constituents that helped the Biden-Harris administration because they're mandating you call it that, paying them back for their votes and support last time around. In reality, it was the Trump administration that was the pro-worker administration because we had a booming economy led by energy, of course, which the Biden administration plans to kill as the golden goose of the American economy. And more broadly, we talked in the last segment about the tax rates and the like. There's so many knock-on effects as well. You know, one of the first rules of economics is there's no such thing as a free lunch. There ain't no free lunch.
Right.
And so it goes beyond just the tax rate down to all the knock-on effects of what happens to the growth of our economy. And Congressional Budget Office put out a research report recently showing that if we pursue these kinds of trillion-dollar bills on top of an already bloated budget, we're ultimately going to see massive declines in GDP relative to where we would be. And what that means is worse jobs, lower paying jobs, lower living standards, and America falling behind the rest of the world, and particularly China even further.
We're going to talk more about this in a little bit here on the broadcast, but I got a text message from Emerald yesterday afternoon. Generally speaking, when Emerald texts me, it's something big, like something major is happening in Washington. She sends me a text yesterday, and I missed it, so it was like 3 texts. It was a picture, it was a tweet, and then it was a couple texts. I look at it, and there is a major problem. You see what I did there? Apparently at the White House yesterday, one of the president's dogs, possibly major, might have relieved himself in the outside the diplomatic room, I guess. What do we know? What are we hearing?
Well, it was confirmed by the White House, but I just thought you'd find that a little bit funny since you were talking about the dogs on the same day, and then one of the dogs, I don't know if it was Major or the other dog, then did a little doo-doo on the floor.
Yes, we've got a little more. That's just a little tease for you. We've got a little more on that coming up.
There's so many things you could say about that.
There's so much. Donna, please weigh in. Then I want to move on, please.
Yeah, let me add something about this infrastructure bill.
Oh, go ahead.
And the taxes. You know, he not only is planning to increase the corporate tax rate, but remember, these environmental policies are actually adding additional high costs to energy needed to run these plants. So it's increased cost and increased tax. So those are formulas for disasters for corporations who can build their products cheaper in another country. So he's doing everything you can to fight corporate growth in this country and put us at a disadvantage.
No, it's a really good point. There's a lot to unpack when it comes to this infrastructure bill, for sure. I'd like to talk about the Matt Gaetz situation a little bit. I think it's only fair that we raise this. Right now, the congressman, the Florida congressman, is denying a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old girl. He claims that he is being extorted by the DOJ. Rick, it seems like the DOJ really only leaks things one way, don't they?
Yeah, this reminds me of going back over time, and especially in the Trump administration, when there was all this to kind of disinformation. And in this case, we do know there's investigation. There is so much more to unpack. There are a lot of facts still to come out. Kevin McCarthy has said we're not going to take any action until we get the facts. In America, we're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. And I think until all the facts come out, it's important that we wait and see what happens. Matt Gaetz has come out and talked. Obviously, the DOJ doesn't talk, so that prevents us from getting that other side of the information. But the more that comes out, and look, let's go back. I mean, Eric Swalwell, Congressman Swalwell, as we all know, was in a very similar situation. He was being investigated by the FBI and for sharing national security secrets with a Chinese spy. And look where that investigation went. So there's a lot more to come, and I think the media likes to tend to sensationalize a lot of this. And we just need to be patient, wait, and let the facts come out.
I think that's exactly right. Emerald, we've got about 10 seconds left, but I'll tell you what, the New York Times...
The DOJ doesn't talk. They selectively leak, as you said, in one direction. And I was a little bit skeptical when I heard 3 letters in this story, and that was DOJ.
Yeah.
You got to keep in mind, Representative Gaetz, I mean, who knows? We don't know the facts yet. For sure. It's a wild story, but... Representative Gaetz had just recently accused the State Department via NGOs of being the greatest human trafficker in the world. Yeah, like the day before.
And I'll tell you what, we've got to wrap it up. We can pick this back up next block. But, the New York Times broke this story. And I'll tell you what, if the New York Times does have this wrong, they've got to answer for that. Because they broke this sort of salacious story. And if it comes out that it's not true, I want to know what their sourcing was. Of course, that's information we'll never get from the New York Times. But that was my first thought. And that's unfortunate that that's where we are in America, that you read something from what was once such a respected medium, such a respected newspaper, and you question it immediately. Panel will pick this back up.